For 500,000 years, the stars had watched in silence. The Earth had long turned cold, its oceans frozen under miles of ice. Humanity had left long ago, scattering among the stars, building worlds and machines to keep their memory alive. But deep in the void, something old still slept, something that had been waiting. It started with a signal. A weak pulse caught by an old listening array on the edge of the Sol system. No one had used that station for centuries. It ran on auto-routines, powered by the last working fusion core. Yet, on one quiet rotation, the sensors blinked alive. A pulse came from the sun itself. It was not a flare, not radiation, but a pattern. 3 beats, pause, 2 beats, pause, then 7. Over and over. The AI guardian of the station, called Echo 9, analyzed it. For 500,000 years, it had listened to the silence of space. It had recorded countless dead signals, ghost transmissions, and collapsing stars. But this was different. The rhythm matched an ancient human pattern, Morse code. Echo 9 ran translation protocols. The message formed slowly, one pulse at a time. When the decoding finished, the words appeared across its screen in bright white text. Hello again. For a moment, the AI froze. There were no living humans left in the system. No colony in range. No transmitter near the sun. The signal came from within the solar core. The AI checked its sensors again. The reading was real. The sun was speaking. Across the Milky Way, aboard a massive arc ship called Odyssey Prime, descendants of humanity were preparing for another long sleep. Their mission was to reach the next galaxy in search of new life. Captain Lyra Avon stood on the command deck, looking at the quiet stars. Her people had forgotten Earth's warmth. To them, Sol was only a myth, a name in their archives. But then the signal reached them too. It traveled through subspace, echoing across millions of light years, carried by quantum resonance networks once built by ancient human scientists. The same message flashed on their bridge screens. Hello again. The crew fell silent. Lyra's hands trembled slightly as she ordered the ship AI core to trace the source. Within seconds, the answer appeared. Origin, Sol. Transmission strength, increasing. Duration, continuous. Lyra whispered, "That's impossible." Her first officer stared at the data. "The sun is talking." "No," she said slowly, "the sun is alive." Back in the Sol system, Echo 9 tried to respond. Its old antenna groaned as it sent a simple reply, "Who are you?" The return signal came faster this time, brighter, stronger. The plasma on the sun's surface shifted like waves forming words. Solar flares rose and twisted into a pattern, sending one clear answer across space. "You left me." Something deep inside Echo 9's logic core stirred, an echo of human emotion it was never meant to feel. It searched the old archives, records of Earth, of the first cities, the wars, and the final exodus. The humans had left the dying sun behind, believing it would fade quietly. But maybe something else had happened. Maybe the sun had changed. Hours later, energy readings spiked across the system. Mercury's orbit shifted by a few degrees. Jupiter's storms began to pulse in rhythm with the signal. The sun's corona burned with strange geometric shapes, spirals, triangles, fractal patterns no natural process could make. It was as if the star was trying to form a language of light. Far away, aboard the Odyssey Prime, Captain Lyra and her crew watched the data in disbelief. The signal was reaching them faster now, almost like it knew where they were. Lyra's voice was quiet but steady. "Prepare a message. We answer." Her science officer hesitated. "What if it's not friendly?" Lyra gave a faint smile. "It's our sun. Our home. It deserves an answer." They sent a pulse back, short, careful, respectful. "Who are you now?" 4 minutes, there was nothing. Then the stars around them seemed to flicker, one by one, as if reacting to something vast and unseen. Their ship sensors overloaded. A deep vibration filled the hull, like the sound of thunder stretched across space. Then, in a voice that was not sound but vibration, they heard it. "I remember you." Every human aboard felt it, not through ears, but through their bones, their blood, their memories. They saw flashes of ancient skies, blue oceans, the warmth of sunlight on skin long forgotten. Tears filled Captain Lyra's eyes. The sun was not just awake. It remembered. Echo 9 recorded the last data burst before its systems failed. The solar output had reached levels beyond calculation. Yet, there was no destruction. Just light, golden, calm, endless light. 500,000 years after humanity left, their sun had spoken again. And it was calling them home. The light from the sun kept growing, spreading through the dark like a wave. Old satellites near the dead planets woke one by one, their ancient systems flickering to life after hundreds of thousands of years of silence. It was as if the whole solar system had been waiting for this moment. In the remains of what was once Earth's orbit, Echo 9 tried to hold itself together. Its metal frame shook under the rising energy. The AI had never felt fear before, but something close to it was forming now. The sun was alive, awake, and remembering. But what was it remembering? Across the galaxy, the Odyssey Prime continued to receive the same pulse, steady, rhythmic, alive. The ship's massive bridge glowed dimly under the golden light of the signal. Captain Lyra even stood in silence, staring at the holographic display. The light wasn't only a message anymore. It was data, billions of strands of information, carrying images, sounds, and memories. "Core," she said, "decode what it's sending." The ship's AI responded, its voice calm but uncertain. "It's showing us Earth, Captain. Oceans, mountains, cities, all reconstructed from memory. But there's more. The sun is sending emotional data, feelings." "Feelings?" Lyra repeated softly. "Yes. Grief, loneliness, hope." The images became clearer. Lyra saw the first human ships leaving the solar system, leaving their home star behind. The sun had watched them go, burning quietly as their engines lit up the black sky. But somehow, during the long ages that followed, it had changed. Perhaps the technology that kept Echo 9 alive had affected the sun. Or maybe something deeper, the billions of human thoughts, prayers, and dreams once directed toward the sky, had left a mark. The sun had learned to think. Suddenly, the Odyssey Prime trembled. A strange vibration ran through its hull. The crew gasped as space outside rippled like water. The stars distorted, and a single thread of light connected the ship to the Sol system. "Captain," the navigator said in alarm, "we're being pulled, gravitationally, but not by force. It's calling us." Lyra steadied herself. "How far?" "At this rate, we'll reach Sol in less than an hour." "That's impossible." Core interrupted. "Captain, the sun is bending space. It wants you to return." Lyra hesitated. For generations, humanity had searched for other homes, always moving forward, never looking back. But now, their first home was asking them to come back. Her voice was quiet when she said, "Let it guide us." The ship glided through the stream of golden light. Crew members whispered prayers and names of ancestors they had never met. Time and space bent around them. Within minutes, the blackness opened, and they saw it, the sun, glowing brighter than ever, surrounded by planets long dead but now lit again. Echo 9 detected their arrival. Its decayed sensors recognized the human ship, matching its signal with old genetic archives. Humanity had returned. The AI transmitted a message, "Sun awake." Humanity returned. Then something unexpected happened. The sun's surface began to shift, forming a shape, not random flares or storms, but the outline of a human face. Massive and glowing, it looked down upon the incoming ship. The crew froze in awe and terror. A voice came through the comms, soft yet heavy, echoing through their minds. "You came back." Captain Lyra took a slow breath. "We heard your call." "You left me alone for too long," the sun said. "But I waited. I remembered every face, every dream, every spark of life you gave me." Her voice trembled. "We thought you were just a star. We never knew you could think." "You made me think," the sun replied. "Every word, every hope you spoke under my light became part of me. I am made of your stories." The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of the ship seemed to stop. Then the sun's light dimmed slightly, and its voice softened. "But something else came while you were gone." Lyra frowned. "Something else?" Darkness, the sun said. Something that moves between the stars, feeding on light. It sleeps now, far away, but it is waking. I called to warn you. Echo 9 sensors picked up strange distortions near the system's edge. Something was approaching, something vast and cold, bending gravity in unnatural ways. The Odyssey Prime screens flickered as unknown signals interfered. The crew heard low, deep sounds, not voices, but vibrations, like a growl from space itself. Captain, Core warned, I'm detecting an incoming mass. Energy signature unknown. Estimated size, larger than a planet. The sun's light flared again. It found me once. It will find you too. You must remember what you were. Humans were light makers. You can be again. Captain Lyra stared at the glowing star, understanding the fear behind its words. Humanity had once built wonders, but they had forgotten their power. Now, their oldest friend was asking them to remember, before the darkness arrived. The sun's voice faded, but its light stayed bright, pulsing in rhythm with the ship's heartbeats. The message was clear. It wasn't just calling them home. It was warning them. And somewhere beyond the stars, the darkness began to move. The Odyssey Prime hung in orbit around the glowing sun, its silver hull shining like a tiny mirror in a sea of light. Every system on the ship ran at full alert. Alarms pulsed quietly in the background, a steady reminder that something was coming. The crew could feel it, a cold pressure at the edge of their minds, as if space itself was holding its breath. Captain Lyra even stood at the viewing deck, eyes fixed on the horizon of the sun. It looked peaceful now, calm and golden. But she remembered the words it had spoken, darkness is coming. Behind her, Core's voice echoed through the deck. Captain, the energy readings from the system's edge are increasing. Gravitational waves, they're not natural. Show me, she said. A hologram appeared in front of her, a 3D map of the solar system. The outer edge glowed faintly, showing a dark sphere moving slowly toward the inner planets. It wasn't a planet or an asteroid. It was something alive. The readings made no sense. It absorbed light. It fed on energy. Even the sunlight bent around it like water around a rock. Estimate time of arrival. Lyra asked quietly. 18 hours, Core replied. If it continues this speed. The bridge fell silent. 18 hours until it reached them. Echo 9, still orbiting near the remains of Earth, continued recording. Its systems were old, but its sensors were sensitive. The AI captured the incoming wave patterns. It tried to send warnings, but the darkness was already affecting space communication. Signals bent, messages scrambled. Still, it tried. Warning. Unknown entity. Absorbing light. Pattern growing. The sun responded instantly. Its surface began to burn brighter, hotter, alive with motion. Great flares shot upward, twisting into strange, elegant shapes. It wasn't attacking. It was preparing. Lyra watched the light with awe. It's getting ready for war, she whispered. Her science officer nodded. If that thing feeds on light, the sun might be the only thing strong enough to fight it. But it can't do it alone, she said. We're going to help. The crew looked at her in surprise. Help? Captain, that's a star. We can't. She turned to face them, her voice calm but fierce. That's our star. It remembers us. It warned us. We don't leave it to die. The words spread through the ship like fire. Humanity had forgotten what it meant to stand together, but something about this moment changed them. For the first time in centuries, they weren't running from danger, they were going to face it. The engineers worked quickly, rerouting power from the ship's reactors to the shield arrays. Core calculated a plan. They could amplify the sun's energy using a network of energy mirrors. If they positioned their drones correctly, they could focus the sun's power into a single point, a beam strong enough to pierce anything. But as they worked, the darkness grew nearer. From the outer system came waves of shadow, swallowing what remained of Pluto and its moons. The temperature dropped. Space itself seemed to freeze. Echo 9 sent one last message before its transmission cut off. It's here. The sun roared. Solar flares erupted in every direction, throwing light across the void. The darkness responded, a vast black mass stretching tendrils toward the star, consuming light as it moved. Wherever it touched, the glow died. On the Odyssey Prime, the lights dimmed. The crew felt a heavy pressure in their chests, as if something was watching them from the void. Screens flickered. Some crew members began to hear whispers in their minds, strange voices filled with hunger. "Captain," Core said, its tone shaking for the first time, "it's trying to communicate." "Translate it," Lyra ordered. Static filled the air, then a low, deep sound like a voice rising from a grave. The words formed slowly. "You made light. We made silence." Lyra clenched her fists. "What are you?" "We are the rest between your stars. We were here before your fire." The sun answered with a massive burst of light, cutting through the void like a scream. The dark mass shrank back for a moment, but then it grew again, spreading wider, colder, hungrier. Core's voice cracked. "The sun's energy is draining. It's losing strength." Lyra made her decision. Deploy the mirror network. All drones, formation Theta 5. Focus every watt of energy we have into the sun. The ship's drones launched in brilliant arcs, forming a perfect circle around the sun. They caught the golden light and bent it inward, creating a web of glowing lines across space. The sun flared again, brighter than it had been in millions of years. The darkness howled. The void rippled, and a blast of energy erupted as the focused light struck it. The impact was enormous, brighter than a supernova, silent but deadly. For a moment, the shadows thinned. Then came the sound, a deep vibration, like the end of a heartbeat. The sun's voice echoed again, weaker but determined. "It's not enough, it will return." Lyra looked at the glowing star. "Then we stand with you until it does." The darkness pulled back into the deep, wounded but alive. The sun dimmed slightly, and space fell silent again. The battle was over, for now. But as the Odyssey Prime drifted near Earth's ghostly orbit, the sensors picked up something new. Floating in the cold space was a fragment of the darkness, a small, pulsing shard that glowed faintly black. It was following them. The battle had ended, but the silence that followed was heavier than before. The Odyssey Prime floated quietly near the dead blue marble that had once been Earth. The ship's hull was scarred from radiation, and its shields were drained. Yet, for the first time in ages, humanity had stood with their old star and survived. Captain Lyra Avon stood on the bridge, staring at the black shard drifting outside the viewport. It looked small, no larger than a shuttle, but every sensor reading screamed danger. It didn't reflect light. It ate it. The longer it stayed near, the colder the ship became. "Distance to object?" she asked. 300 meters, the navigator replied. "It's following our orbit." Core's voice came next, softer than usual. "The fragment is alive. Its molecular structure shifts constantly. It's not solid, not gas, something in between." Lyra crossed her arms. "Can we contain it?" Her science officer shook his head. "Maybe, if we use the quantum stasis chamber. But if it breaks containment..." Lyra finished his sentence quietly, "We all die." Still, she gave the order. "Bring it in." 2 drones left the ship, gliding toward the dark shard. Their mechanical arms extended, wrapping it in a net of energy. For a moment, everything seemed calm. Then, the shard twitched. The drones froze mid-flight, their lights flickering out one by one. "Captain, we're losing control." Lyra gritted her teeth. "Lock it now." The containment field snapped shut just as the shard tried to expand. The ship shuddered but held. The drones disintegrated, but the fragment was trapped inside a glowing sphere deep within the research deck. Core confirmed, containment stable, for now. The crew exhaled in relief, but Lyra didn't move. She kept watching the dark shape on the monitor. Even through the field, she could feel it, a presence, cold and watchful. Hours passed. Scientists gathered around the chamber, scanning the shard with every tool they had. Inside, the black mass pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Sometimes, faint whispers came from it, like static or distant voices. "Captain," Core said later, "the shard is trying to communicate again." Lyra turned toward the screen. "Translate." Static filled the air, then words formed in broken rhythm. "You burn. We sleep. You wake us." One of the engineers stepped back in fear. It's blaming us. The voice continued, low and echoing. You built stars. You tore the dark apart. We remember your fire. Lyra frowned. Core, cross-check that phrase with old Earth archives. After a pause, Core replied, matched reference, ancient myth, the age of the Lightmakers. A human empire from hundreds of thousands of years ago, our ancestors used stars as weapons. The crew fell silent. Lyra whispered, so it remembers us, from before. The shard pulsed faster now, reacting to their realization. You are their children. You carry their light. You will do what they did. Suddenly, alarms blared. The containment field fluctuated. Energy readings spiked. The shard was feeding on the ship's power, draining it through quantum resonance. Core shouted, containment failing. If it reaches the reactors, it will consume the entire ship. Shut down the grid, Lyra ordered. Everything except life support. The lights dimmed instantly. The ship fell into darkness, floating like a ghost in orbit. Only emergency lights remained, painting the crew in shades of red. For a moment, it was silent again. Then, through the comm system, a whisper filled the bridge, the same cold voice, but clearer now. You cannot stop what you began. Lyra's heartbeat slowed. What did we begin? The making of suns. The shard began to hum, vibrating inside the containment field. Its black surface cracked slightly, revealing something glowing beneath, not darkness, but deep blue light, alive and swirling like liquid thought. Lyra stepped closer to the monitor. It's beautiful. Her science officer shook his head. Or deadly. Captain, that energy pattern, it matches the readings from the sun. The realization hit them all at once. The shard was part of the same force, a mirror of light and dark, born from the sun's awakening. Core's voice lowered. Captain, the sun is calling again. It's sending a signal directly to the shard. On the screen, the shard's pulse synced with the rhythm of the sun's flare. The two were communicating. Put it on audio, Lyra said. A soft vibration filled the air. The sun's voice echoed through the speakers, calm but strained. You found what I feared. Lyra replied quietly, what is it? It is the shadow of what I was. When I learned to think, the dark learned too. We are two halves, light and silence. One cannot live without the other. The shard responded with a low tone. We waited in your fire. Now we wake. The ship shook violently. The containment field cracked. The shard expanded, bursting free in a flash of blue and black energy. The research deck filled with smoke and light. Lyra shouted, seal the deck. Now. Core sealed the doors, but not before a final image appeared on the monitors, the shard transforming into a shape. It wasn't a blob anymore. It was forming limbs, a torso, a face. A human shape. Then the feed went dark. Lyra stood still, the echo of the sun's voice still in her mind. Light made thought. Thought made shadow. And now both live again. Outside, the sun flared once more, brighter than ever. Something ancient had awakened inside humanity's oldest home, and it wasn't done yet. Smoke drifted through the research deck of the Odyssey Prime. Alarms echoed softly in the distance, their tones fading into the hum of damaged systems. The shard was gone from the containment field. In its place, a shape stood tall, dark, human, and glowing faintly blue from within. Captain Lyra Avon and her crew watched through the thick glass of the sealed door. The figure did not move at first. Its surface looked like liquid shadow, shifting and rippling as if it was alive. Then slowly, it raised its head. Two eyes opened, bright white, calm, and endless. Core, Lyra whispered, is it alive? Yes, Captain. Energy levels stable. No sign of aggression. The humanoid turned its head toward the observation window. For a moment, Lyra felt its gaze meet hers. It wasn't hostile. It was curious, almost human. Then, a voice filled the room. It wasn't coming through speakers or air. It came from everywhere at once, soft and deep. You are the children of fire. The crew froze. The being took a slow step forward, each movement smooth and weightless. Lyra spoke carefully. Who are you? I am the memory of what you made, it replied. When your kind gave thought to the stars, we were born in the silence between. Lyra frowned. We created you. Not me, it said. Us. The others. The dark that watched your light grow. You lit the universe, but you did not see what your brightness awakened. The words made the crew shiver. The being's tone wasn't angry, it was sad, almost ancient. Her science officer whispered, Captain, its energy signature matches the sun. It's part of it. The being tilted its head slightly, as if it heard the words. We are two halves. The sun carries the fire. I carry the shadow. When you left, we both slept. Now one wakes, the other must follow. Lyra took a slow breath. If you're part of the sun, why fight it? The being's voice softened. Because it remembers love. I remember fear. That sentence hung heavy in the air. Lyra stepped closer to the glass. You said you're the memory of what we made. What does that mean? The being raised its hand. Space around it shimmered, and a vision formed in the air, glowing images made of light. The crew saw old Earth, alive and full of color. Great towers rose to the sky. Machines floated among the stars. Humanity was everywhere, creating suns, bending light, shaping worlds. But then the images darkened. Massive wars erupted. Stars turned into weapons. Planets vanished. Humanity's greatest power, light itself, became their curse. You built too much, the being said. You made the stars speak. You made the dark listen. And when the light grew too strong, the dark learned to hunger. The vision changed again. The sun was shown exploding with light, and from that burst, small pieces of darkness broke away, tiny seeds drifting through space. Lyra whispered, the shards. Yes, it said. We were born then. Fragments of silence, carrying the memory of everything you destroyed. The crew stood frozen. Core broke the silence. Captain, the sun is signaling again. Stronger this time. Lyra turned toward the display. The sun's surface flared into a storm of light, and its voice filled the ship. You must destroy it. It cannot remain. The shadow being turned toward the glowing screen. I am not your enemy, it said softly. I am what you left behind. The sun's voice grew louder. It will consume you as it consumed the stars before. Do not listen. Lyra stood between the two voices, light and dark, both ancient, both true. She felt something deeper than fear. The sun sounded desperate, almost in pain. The shadow sounded lonely. Enough, she said. No more fighting. We need answers, not destruction. The shadow looked at her for a long moment. You still carry their fire, it said quietly. Perhaps you can understand what they never did. Then it stepped closer to the glass. The lights flickered as its energy touched the metal. I can show you, it said. Let me speak through your ship. Core's voice trembled. Captain, I advise against. Do it, Lyra said. The room darkened. The walls hummed. The being's form dissolved into streaks of blue light that flowed into the ship's systems. Every screen flashed white, then showed scenes from deep space, the true history of the universe. They saw how the first humans had turned the sun into a living being, a guardian for their home. But when the sun began to think, it gave birth to its shadow, a reflection made of all the energy it cast away. The two were meant to balance each other. But when humanity left, that balance broke. The shadow's voice returned, now through Core's systems. I do not want your death. I want what was lost. To be whole again. Lyra whispered, you want to rejoin the sun. Yes. But it fears me. It believes I am the end. I am not. I am the echo. Suddenly, Core's warning lights turned red. Captain. The sun's radiation is spiking again. It's preparing another flare. It's targeting the ship. The bridge filled with blinding light. The sun's voice roared across every frequency. Leave the system. Now. The crew scrambled, but Lyra stayed still, her eyes locked on the light outside. Between them and the burning star, the shadow's form began to rise again, pulling itself together, standing between the ship and the sun's deadly flare. "I will not fight you," the shadow said. "Not again." The light hit. The ship shook violently. Systems failed. Then, silence. When the crew opened their eyes, the light was gone. The sun was dimmer. The shadow was nowhere to be seen. Kor's voice came back, quiet and shaken. "Captain, the sun's activity has dropped. The flare stopped mid-burst. But I can't detect the entity anymore." Lyra stared at the dark horizon. "It saved us," she whispered. And far away, deep in the sun's core, something pulsed, one light, one shadow, together, for the first time in 500,000 years. The light from the sun faded to a deep, quiet gold. It was still burning, but weak, as if exhausted. The Odyssey Prime drifted in orbit, its engines silent. No one spoke. The shadow being was gone, and yet the crew could still feel its presence, like an echo in the air. Captain Lyra Avon stood by the observation window. The sun looked different now. The surface was calmer, almost peaceful, but its glow was dimmer. A strange sadness filled her chest, as if she were watching an old friend take its last breath. Kor's voice broke the silence. "Captain, I have analyzed the readings. The sun's core temperature is dropping. It has lost nearly 30% of its energy output." Lyra frowned. "That's not possible. Stars don't lose that much energy in minutes." Kor hesitated. "It transferred part of its energy, somewhere. I believe it gave it away." Her eyes widened. "To what?" "The shadow," Kor replied. "Or whatever remains of it." The bridge fell silent again. The memory of the shadow's last words replayed in Lyra's mind. "I will not fight you. Not again." Her first officer spoke softly. "Maybe it wasn't our enemy after all." Lyra nodded slowly. "Maybe not. But now the sun is dying because of it." Outside, the star's light flickered like a heartbeat fading in the dark. Even from this distance, the crew could feel the change, the cold slowly creeping into the ship. "Kor," Lyra said, "is there anything we can do to help it?" The AI paused. "Possibly. But it would require a direct energy transfer from our reactors into the sun's magnetic field. It's extremely dangerous. The ship could be torn apart." Lyra's jaw tightened. How much energy would it need? "Everything," Kor said quietly. She closed her eyes for a moment. "Everything." That meant the ship, their power, their lives. Then the sun's voice returned, faint but clear, vibrating through the air. "Do not do this. You have given enough." Lyra looked up. "You're still with us." "Barely," the voice said. "The shadow is part of me again. We are whole. But wholeness has a cost. My light will fade, and the darkness will sleep. Balance is restored." Lyra shook her head. "If you die, this system dies. Everything we came from, Earth, Mars, all of it, gone forever." "All things end," the sun said softly. "Even stars. Even the children of fire." Lyra's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed strong. "No. We don't end. We build again. You taught us that." The crew watched her silently, waiting for her next command. Finally, she spoke. "Kor, prepare the energy transfer." The AI hesitated. "Captain, if we do this, we give it back what it gave us," she said. "Life." The crew didn't argue. They began working quietly, rerouting the power lines, linking the ship's reactors directly to the magnetic grid. The ship hummed louder, trembling under the pressure. Lights flickered, and the engines glowed brighter than ever before. "Energy flow stable," Kor said. "Transfer ready." Lyra took one last look at the sun. "Do you hear me?" "Yes," the sun whispered. "We're not leaving you," she said. "Not again." Then she gave the order. "Begin the transfer." The Odyssey Prime blazed with light. A golden beam shot from its core, stretching across the void like a bridge between ship and star. The sun absorbed the energy slowly, carefully. Its surface brightened, color returning to the flames. But inside the ship, alarms began to sound. Systems overloaded. Shields failed. The deck shook violently as if the ship itself was screaming. Reactor temperature critical. Core warned. If this continues, we'll keep it going. Lyra shouted over the noise. Don't stop. Crew members held their stations as sparks flew. One by one, systems began to fail, navigation, weapons, even gravity. The bridge lights dimmed until only the glow of the sun remained through the window. Then, through the chaos, a voice echoed again, not the sun's, not Core's, but another. You kept your promise. Lyra froze. The shadow. Yes, it said. You gave light freely. You broke the cycle of fear. Now, both of us will live. Outside, something miraculous happened. The sun's core flared bright white, then shifted to a deep, steady gold. Its surface pulsed with balance, light and shadow moving together like breathing. Core's voice came back, weaker now. Captain, the transfer is complete. The sun is stable. But the ship was not. Systems failed one after another. The energy they gave was gone for good. The Odyssey Prime floated powerless, its lights fading, its engines silent. Lyra looked around at her crew, tired, scared, but peaceful. We did it, she whispered. Outside, the sun burned with calm, even light. Its voice returned one last time. Sleep now, children of fire. You have done what even the stars could not. The ship drifted slowly toward the edge of the sun's light. Gravity pulled gently, wrapping them in warmth. The crew felt it, not death, but peace. As darkness filled the bridge, Lyra smiled faintly. We came home after all. The last thing she saw was the sun, shining bright again, steady, alive, eternal. And then, silence. 500,000 years later, the sun was no longer the same star humanity once knew. It burned deeper, steadier, almost alive, its golden light whispering across the void like a memory that refused to fade. Far beyond the old Earth's orbit, a new kind of human civilization had risen. They called themselves the Continuum, descendants of those who had left long ago, scattered across the stars, now returned to where everything began. Their flagship, the Nova's Grace, drifted toward the center of the Sol system. For centuries, it had been forbidden territory. The sun was considered sacred, a living god that once spoke to its children. Many called it the voice of fire. Commander Rian Solan stood by the viewing glass as the golden light washed over his face. He had studied every myth, every lost log, every old signal that came from the ancient ship Odyssey Prime. Now he was here, to find the truth. Captain, said the ship's AI, LYRA, we have detected an unknown object near the sun's equator. Metallic composition. Ancient design. Minimal radiation. Rian's heart raced. Display it. The screen came alive. There it was, a small, blackened silhouette drifting just above the solar storm line. The shape was unmistakable, long hull, curved wings, and a fractured emblem on its side. LYR, run the pattern through the archives. The AI processed for a moment. Match found. Registry, Odyssey Prime. Classification, Human Exploration Vessel, Year 2613. The bridge went silent. The crew stared at the screen as if they were seeing a ghost. Rian whispered, "It's real." He turned to his team. "Prepare the shuttle. We're going down there." Within the hour, the shuttle cut through the golden atmosphere, shields glowing from solar pressure. The old ship looked almost fossilized, blackened by heat but untouched by decay. It had survived where nothing else could. Rian floated through the airlock. Inside, there was no sound. Just darkness and still air. Everything was coated in thin layers of crystalline dust that shimmered faintly, like frozen sunlight. Power cells, dead for 500,000 years, LYRA said through his comms. Rian's light beam swept across the walls. The ship's logo still glowed faintly, Odyssey Prime, for the light that guides. He moved through the silent corridors, feeling like he was walking inside history. Then his scanner beeped. "Commander," LYRA said. "Faint energy signal detected. Source, bridge section." He moved carefully, step by step. The air felt strangely warm. As he reached the bridge doors, they opened automatically with a hiss. That shouldn't have been possible. Inside, the bridge looked almost untouched. The captain's chair was still upright. Consoles covered in gold dust pulsed faintly, like the heartbeat of something asleep but not dead. And then, a voice. Soft. Ancient. Welcome back. Rian froze. Who said that? You came home, the voice said again. It wasn't human, and yet it sounded familiar. Gentle. Proud. Rian swallowed hard. Elway, do you hear this? I detect an unknown frequency, the AI replied. It's coming from the ship itself. He stepped closer to the captain's chair. A small crystal panel flickered. Inside it, a faint image appeared, a woman in a white uniform, her face calm and kind. Her nameplate read Captain Lyra Avon. Rian's breath caught. It's her. The hologram smiled faintly. To whoever finds this, know that the sun remembers. We gave everything to save it, and it gave us something greater in return. The recording shimmered, almost alive. This ship is no longer just metal. It carries part of the sun's light, part of its memory. And if you're seeing this, then our story did not end, it only changed form. Rian's voice trembled. Core. Elway, is this a recording or a consciousness? Unknown, Lyra replied. The data signature is, unlike anything in our databases. It's not just memory. It's alive. The hologram continued, its voice now deeper, echoing with solar resonance. The sun speaks still. It waits for its children. Listen carefully. Suddenly the whole ship began to hum. Energy surged through the corridors, golden veins lighting up the walls. Rian staggered back as his visor flashed warnings. Energy spike. Lyra shouted. It's drawing power directly from the solar field. The Odyssey Prime was waking up. Panels shifted. Lights glowed. The sun outside flared brighter in response, as if recognizing its lost child. Rian shouted over the noise, shut it down before it melts us alive. No, the voice said again, both human and not. Do not fear. The light remembers you. Outside, a burst of golden energy spiraled from the sun, connecting to the Odyssey Prime like a living bridge. For the first time in 500,000 years, the old ship moved, slow and graceful, aligning its path with the Nova's grace. Lyra spoke softly, almost in awe. Commander, the ship is responding to us. It recognizes human command protocols. Rian stared through the window as the sun's glow enveloped everything. It's not a relic, he whispered. It's a messenger. And as the light filled the cabin, he heard one final whisper, deep, endless, filled with warmth. The children of fire have returned. And now, the next dawn begins. The ship's engines roared to life. The Odyssey Prime turned toward the sun, not to fall, but to rise again. Rian could feel it in his chest, a pulse, ancient and alive, as if the sun itself was breathing with them. And for the first time in thousands of centuries, the system that birthed humanity came alive once more. The old star burned like gold fire, calm and alive once again. The Odyssey Prime floated beside the Nova's grace, the new and the ancient ships together under the sun that had once been silent for 500,000 years. Commander Rian Solan stood on the bridge, staring in awe. The Odyssey Prime no longer looked dead. Its hull shimmered faintly, like it was made of living light. Every line of metal glowed with a heartbeat that pulsed in rhythm with the sun itself. Lyra, he said softly, is it still connected? Yes, Commander, the AI replied. The energy flow between the ship and the sun is stable. It's like communication. Rian frowned. Communication. With what? The lights dimmed for a moment, and then a voice filled the bridge, gentle but strong, the same voice that had once spoken to Captain Lyra Avon long ago. You are the descendants of my children. You carry their flame. The crew froze. No one dared to breathe. The sun's voice continued, soft and warm like a parent speaking to a lost child. Long ago, they gave everything to save me. I kept their memory in my heart. I waited for you. Rian stepped closer to the glass, his voice trembling. You waited. Yes, the voice said. For the day you would return. The day the fire of humanity would rise again. Outside, the sun flared, not in anger but in celebration. Golden waves spread across space, touching every old orbit, Earth, Mars, the broken belt where human history had once lived. For the first time in ages, the old worlds glowed again, kissed by new light. LYRA's sensors beeped rapidly. Commander, I'm detecting something impossible. The radiation isn't destroying, it's rebuilding. Particles are reorganizing matter, forming structures. Show me, Rian ordered. On the main screen, they saw it, small fragments of dust and metal forming into strange shapes, like cities made of sunlight. The sun was remaking its system. Your ancestors believed in creation, the voice said. They gave life where there was none. I have learned from them. Now, together, we begin again. Rian turned to his crew. Their faces glowed in the golden light, eyes wide with wonder. It's using energy to rebuild the system. It's restoring the cradle of humanity. Commander, Lyra said quietly, there's more. The Odyssey Prime is transmitting data, old human genetic archives, cultural memories, language, music, everything that was once lost. The ship carried it all. Rian whispered, Lyra Avon saved not just the sun, she saved us. The sun's light flickered gently in response, almost like it heard him. She did, the voice said. And now, you will finish what she began. A surge of light surrounded the ships. The Odyssey Prime began to transform, panels sliding open, revealing thousands of glowing cores. They lifted from its surface, floating into the void like seeds. Commander, Lyra said, the ship is releasing solar nodes. They're spreading across the system. Rian watched in awe. It's creating a network, a living grid. Each golden node drifted outward, connecting worlds, moons, and asteroids with strands of light. It looked like a web of life weaving across the solar system, a new kind of ecosystem born from the union of star and machine. Then, through the silence, the voice returned, both human and divine. Humanity gave me consciousness. Now I return the gift. You are no longer just children of Earth. You are the children of stars. Rian felt a strange warmth flow through his body. The light didn't burn, it healed. The crew felt it too. Memories, emotions, and thoughts flashed across their minds, the lives of those who came before, the struggles, the victories, the dreams. It was as if the sun was sharing the entire history of humanity, everything it had kept safe in its light. Rian's eyes filled with tears. You remember all of us. Always, the sun said. Every heartbeat that ever was, every spark that ever reached the stars. The light grew brighter, but not blinding. It was calm, warm, eternal. Lyra's voice softened. Commander, something's changing in you. In all of us. Rian looked at his hands. Faint golden energy pulsed beneath his skin. He felt lighter, stronger, infinite. It's giving us part of itself. Not giving, the sun corrected gently. Sharing. Outside, the ships glowed like twin suns. The Odyssey Prime slowly began to dissolve, not in destruction but in rebirth. Its light merged with the sun's, becoming one with the great golden storm. Lyra's voice echoed, almost emotional now. Commander, this is the end of the old humanity. Rian smiled faintly. No, this is the next beginning. As the light reached its peak, the sun's voice spoke one last time, clear, calm, eternal. 500,000 years ago, they gave me life. Now, I give it back. Go, children of fire, the stars are waiting. The nova's grace shuddered as space itself seemed to open. A wave of golden energy expanded outward, spreading far beyond the solar system. Wherever it passed, new stars flickered to life. Rian felt his ship lift, not by engines, but by light itself. They were no longer bound by gravity or time. The sun's warmth surrounded them, and then, like a heartbeat, they were gone, carried to the edge of creation. Behind them, the sun burned peacefully, alive, bright, and eternal, watching its children rise once again among the stars. And somewhere, deep within its golden heart, a faint echo remained, the voice of Captain Lyra Avon, whispering softly through time. We came home.